Mahaprabhu पता है? All of you know Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Okay, fine. Can anyone see the purpose? I mean, over here in the classroom, I'll ask questions from both actually. Few questions here in the group, and I mean here in the Google Meet, and also in the class. From the class that we are from Chakra Hall, what is the external and internal reason for the advent of Lord Krishna? भगवान श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु के अवतार का कारण एक मिनट. Okay, that's an external reason. An internal reason? Understand the mood of the Srimati Radharani. Yes, the Lord knows everything, but there's only one thing that Lord does not know. I mean, there's nothing that Lord does not know. Lord is all knowing, but still, the all-knowing Lord does not know the mellow, the mood, and the relishment that the Lord has in the pastime, in the relishment that Srimati Radharani experiences, or his pure devotee experiences. So that is the only thing which the Lord did not know. He wanted to know actually. He wanted to experience, what mellows that Srimati Radharani and the gopis they experience in exchanges with Lord Sri Krishna. So she appeared. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared with the complexion and the mood and the heart of Srimati Radharani. Heart and complexion of Srimati Radharani. The Lord took, and he appeared in Navadvip Mayapur in 1486 AD as of modern day calculation, and which is, if you can calculate, around almost 550 years, little less than 550 years from now, he appeared in Navadvip Mayapur, West Bengal, which is 4 hours from Kolkata. If you see of today's journey by today's means of transport, and the Lord appeared in the house of Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata. Sachi Devi was the daughter of Nilambar Chakravarti, a very renowned scholar and also philosopher in and astrologer in Navadvip Mayapur. And of course, like, it's the appearance, because he's an incarnation of Lord. He does not take birth by the biological process, but he appears. So the incarnation, in fact, even if you read the scriptures, it said that the Lord appeared and present and disappeared in between. He was there for 48 years, actually. His Leela went on for 48 years. So, and of course, he was born under the tree under neem tree. Therefore, he was named Nimai in the month of Falgun on the lunar eclipse day. And it so happened that during the evening when the Lord appeared, of course, since it was the lunar eclipse, the Lord, everyone in Mayapur in the evening time, like we celebrate Gaur Purnima, we break our fast also in the evening, we do the Abhishek in the evening, because the Lord appeared in the evening time, sunset, around the sunset time. That's the time of appearance of the Lord. And at the time of the Lord's appearance, actually, it was the inhabitants of Mayapur would take bath in the Ganges. गंगा में स्नान किए थे जब भगवान अवतार लिए थे, तब उस समय जो है लूनर एक्लिप्स था, और शाम को जो है, मतलब शाम की संध्या काल में भगवान का अवतार हुआ था, और 1486, और उस समय सब गंगा में स्नान कर रहे थे. और जब भगवान का जन्म हुआ था, तो प्राकृतिक हुआ था, तो भगवान बहुत, जो भी मतलब स्वाभाविक है कि कोई भी बाल अवतार लेता है तो उसका रोना होता है, और रोते रोते जो है वो मतलब जो लेडीज है, मतलब वहाँ की जो स्त्री, the ladies, they would chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and the Lord would keep crying, and when they would chant Hari Hari or Krishna or the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then the Lord would, the name of Lord Hari, Lord Krishna, he would stop crying basically. And this went on throughout his childhood fasting, and this was regarding his birth. Like we see in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says in the chapter 4, verse number 9. Janma karma jeve shamya devyam evam yovet titotata chaktva teham punarjanma neti mameti sorjana. Means one who, yeah, one who knows the transcendental nature of birth and activities of the Lord does not take birth again. That's what is said in the, one second, yes, no? Yeah, one second. I will read the exact translation. One moment of that verse. BG 4.9. Yeah. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 9. Yeah. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So you're saying that one who knows the transcendental nature, that means one who has realized this. So our attempt is that we keep discussing the past time until we reach the level of realization. And in a realized state, of course, then we'll be having perfect knowledge, we'll be having perfect realization, and we can. And once we know the transcendental nature, we will not, like it's said in the Lord, Bhagavad Gita, Lord Himself is saying that will not take his birth upon leaving the body in this material world, but attain my eternal abode. This is the statement of the Lord Himself. So, on that note, actually, like I had spoken a little bit about his birth and how he got the name Nimai. And of course, he was born like his parents' name also like Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata. And in Chaitanya Leela, actually, all the like Lord Chaitanya is uh, Krishna with the heart and complexion of Srimati Radharani. Similarly, all the other incarnation, all the other people who appeared around Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they all are also having incarnation in the God. They are all are from Krishna Leela practically. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's parents are combined avatar of Sachi Mata and or combined avatar of Sachi Mata and Jagannath Mishra are combined avatar of Nanda Yashoda and Nanda and Vasudev is Jagannath Mishra and Yashoda and Devaki is Sachi Mata. So I will be actually doing a lot of reading actually from chapter 14 of the Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, because a lot of verses are there which are just verses and no purport, and some of the verses will be having purport. So we will try to cover as much as we can about the birth of Lord Chaitanya. There is this chapter by the name of, there is this chapter entitled The Childhood Pastimes, Lord Chaitanya's Childhood Pastimes. So in his first childhood pastimes, the Lord turned upside down while lying on his bed and thus showed his parents the marks of his lotus feet. भगवान जो है वो उल्टा हो गए थे, मतलब, और अपने चरणों के जो चिन्ह है, मतलब जो मार्क्स है, मतलब वो अपने मतलब माता पिता को उसका दर्शन कराए. एंड और उसमें जो 32 चिन्ह जो है, मतलब भगवान के अवतार के जो 32 चिन्ह होते हैं, मतलब जो किसी भी अवतार के, कृष्ण भगवान के पाँव में या राम जी के पाँव में, भगवान श्री राम के पाँव में जो है जो 32 चिन्ह है, 16 चिन्ह, तो वो मतलब उसका उन्होंने दर्शन की कराया. और when he tried to walk in a small footprints, the specific marks of Vishnu were visible, namely flag, thunderbolt, conch shell, disc and fish. The flag, thunderbolt, conch shell, disc and fish were the marks. And seeing these marks, neither his father nor his mother could understand whose footprints they were. Thus struck with wonder, they could not अंडरस्टैंड, वो समझ, मतलब भगवान जो है, मतलब भगवान के माता पिता जो है अचंभित हो गए थे, मतलब आश्चर्यचकित हो गए थे कि मतलब ऐसे कैसे इनके चरणों में ऐसे चिन्ह है, मतलब मार्क्स है. जगन्नाथ मिश्रा से certainly child Krishna is with the Shaligram Shila, taking his childhood form, he is playing within the room. तो ऐसा लगा इनको कि मतलब भगवान जो है मतलब शालिग्राम शीला के साथ है, क्योंकि भगवान गौरांग महाप्रभु जो है, चैतन्य महाप्रभु, वो शीला खेल रहे थे उस समय. और बाकी फिर हाँ, in fact, while Mother Sachi and Jagannath Mishra were talking, child Nimai woke up and began to cry. Mother Sachi took him on her lap and allowed him to suck her breast. While Mother Sachi was feeding the child from her breast, she saw on the lotus feet all the marks were visible, and she called for Jagannath Mishra. When Jagannath Mishra saw the wonderful marks on the soul of his son, he became very joyful and privately called for नीलांबर चक्रवर्ती. नीलांबर चक्रवर्ती इनके जो मतलब शशि माता के पिता हैं और जो मतलब ग्रेट स्कॉलर है, जो लर्नेड पंडित थे वहाँ पे, तो उनको बताया गया है. और नीलांबर चक्रवर्ती का मार्क्स देखकर कहना था कि formally I ascertain all this by astrological calculations and noted it in writing. There are 32 bodily marks that symptomize a great personality. मतलब कोई भी मतलब महान व्यक्ति या दिव्य व्यक्ति होता है तो उसके शरीर के मतलब 32 तरह के मतलब अंग का डिस्क्रिप्शन दिया है. एंड आई थिंक ऑल दीज मतलब मार्किंग होती है, मतलब एक पर्टिकुलर टाइप ऑफ फीचर होता है कि जिससे पता चलता है कि मतलब 32 तरह के बॉडी सिम्टम्स ऑफ अ ग्रेट पर्सनैलिटी. सो 5 parts are large, पांच होते हैं वो बड़े होते हैं, और 5 fine मतलब and 3 small, 3 broad चौड़ा, 3 grey गंभीर. So 5 large parts are the nose, arms, chin, eyes and knees. तो किसी भी महान व्यक्ति का मतलब अवतार होता है, any great personality he has 5 parts are fine, मतलब skin, fingertips, teeth, hair on the body, hair on the head. These are all finer actually. It's given in the Charitamrita. And 7 parts are reddish. मतलब eyes, soles, palms, palate, nails, upper and lower lips. They are reddish, kind of. And 6 parts are raised. Chest is raised, shoulders are raised, nails, nose, waist and mouth. And 3 small parts are neck, thighs, male organ, and 3 broad parts are waist, forehead, and chest. And the grey parts are navel, voice, and existence. So there are 32 symptoms of great personality. Basically, there's a quotation from a scripture called Samudrika. Okay, so yeah, so he said, Nilambar Chakravarti said, this baby has all the symptoms of Lord Narayan on his palms and soles, and he will be able to deliver the all 3 worlds. तो ये मतलब तीनों लोग का जो है कल्याण करेगा लड़का जो है, एंड ही विल प्रीच द वैष्णव कल्ट एंड विल डिलीवर बोथ हिज मैटरनल एंड पैटर्नल फैमिलीज. So when a Vaishnav is born, when a devotee is born, he delivers both his maternal from mother's side and paternal from family side, both the families simultaneously. So उसी दिन जो है मतलब immediately, like when they saw that it's so auspicious, immediately they proposed that there should be a name giving ceremony, नामकरण का सेरेमनी जो है, नामकरण का जो मतलब ये है उत्सव, तो वो मतलब जो है उसी दिन जो है मतलब बोल दिया था. एंड कॉल फॉर द ब्राह्मण्स. ऑफ कोर्स कोई भी ऑस्पिशियस ओकेजन होता है इन वैदिक टाइम्स, देयर इज ऑलवेज ब्राह्मण, द ब्राह्मणास अटेंड द वैदिक सेरेमनी, एंड टुडे इज वेरी ऑस्पिशियस, दैट्स व्हाट इट सेड. And in the future, this child will protect and maintain all the world. For this reason, he is to be called Vishwambhar. क्योंकि मतलब ऐसे एक ये था, एक इन्होंने पढ़ा था इसके एस्ट्रोलॉजिकल चार्ट में कि मतलब रक्षण करेगा और ऑल द वर्ल्ड का, तीनों लोगों का. तो फॉर दिस ही विल बी कॉल्ड विश्वम्भर. And after hearing Nilambar Chakravarti's prediction, Sachi Mata and Jagannath Mishra observed the name-giving festival in great joy, inviting all the brahmanas and their wives. So मतलब it's very, ब्राह्मणों को मतलब ऐसे आमंत्रण देना, जो भगवान को जानने वाले जो ब्राह्मण है, so वो एक हमेशा वैदिक ट्रेडिशन होता था. And wherever, whatever occasion is there, brahmanas used to be invited. After some days, the Lord began to crawl on his knees, and he caused various wonderful things to be seen. तो अभी वही कि इसमें जो डिस्क्रिप्शन दिया है उस हिसाब से मतलब आगे ये बताया गया है कि मतलब जब भी क्रॉल करता था तो वैसे धीरे धीरे क्या है कि बहुत वंडरफुल एक्टिविटीज का डिस्क्रिप्शन दिया है. So first thing is that the Lord caused all the ladies to chant holy names of Hare Krishna Mahamantra on the plea of his crying, and while they chanted, the Lord would smile. So the Lord with his beautiful eyes would cry, but he would stop immediately upon hearing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. When the ladies, understanding the fun of the Lord, discovered that he would cry and then stop upon hearing the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, they took it as a clue to chant Hare Krishna as soon as the Lord cried. Thus, it became a regular function. Whenever Lord would cry, the ladies would chant Hare Krishna. The ladies would cry, the Lord would cry, and the ladies would begin chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, clapping their hands. ताली बजाते बजाते Hare Krishna Mahamantra गाते थे वो जो ladies थे नवद्वीप मायापुर नाम में. In this way, all the ladies of the neighboring house was assembled. सब जमा हो जाते थे सची माता के और संकीर्तन मूवमेंट जैसे संकीर्तन जैसे होता था उस समय कि भगवान जब रोते थे तो his crying also caused the संकीर्तन actually. The crying of the Lord caused the संकीर्तन. And yeah, after some days, Lord began to move his legs and walk. तो थोड़ा और मतलब आगे का बताया है कि वो थोड़ा चलने लग गया. He mixed with other children and exhibited various sports. बाकी बच्चों के साथ मिलके mixing with others, they would execute various sports. One day, while the Lord was enjoying his playful sports with the other children, Mother Sachi brought a dish filled with fused rice and sweet meats and asked the child to sit down and eat them. तो वही सची माता जो है थोड़ा खाने के लिए लेके आई और थोड़ा स्वीट मीट एंड राइस वगैरह एंड स्वीट मीट मतलब मिठाई है वो स्वीट मतलब वो मीट मतलब मांसाहार नहीं वो स्वीट मीट मिठाइयों को बोलते हैं बेसिकली. एंड आज द चाइल्ड टू सिट एंड ईट विद हिम. तो ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग पास टाइम है एक्चुअली. इसमें मतलब क्या होता है कि भगवान जो है मतलब वो बोलते हैं मैं मट्टी खाऊंगा, मैं राइस और स्वीट मीट नहीं खाऊंगा, मैं जो आप दिए वो नहीं खाऊंगा, क्योंकि दोनों में फर्क नहीं है. खाना भी जो है मतलब जो फूड पार्टिकल्स भी है वो ऐसे ही बनता है मतलब मट्टी में से. एंड या बट व्हेन शी सो what is this? What is this? She snatched the dirt from his hands of the Lord and inquired why he was eating it. Crying, the Lord inquired from his mother, why are you angry? You have already given me dirt to eat. What is my fault? Means Bhagavan बोल रहे थे, but the Lord was saying that what you have given me is already dirt. Fused rice, sweet meats, and all of the eatables are but transformation of dirt. Means they are transformed from the mitti only. They are transformed from the sand only, basically. This is dirt, that is dirt. Please consider what is the difference between them. This body is a transformation of dirt, and the eatables are also a transformation of dirt. Please reflect upon this. You are blaming me without consideration. What can I say? So basically, the Lord was indirectly like, Mayavad philosophy is all is one. Mayavad is basically the conception that there is no difference between the Lord and the living entity. There is just a covering of the Maya that is causing the Lord to, the living entity to forget his position as the Supreme Lord. तो ये एक इस तरह का फिलोसफी है अद्वैतवाद जिसको मायावाद बोला जाता है. बट इसका खंडन हमेशा चैतन्य महाप्रभु करते थे और बचपन में ऐसी एक लीला थी कि जिसमें मतलब he mentioned about this. He mentioned he is pertaining the Mayavad philosophy as a very small kid indirectly. And so in this pastime, astonishingly, that the child was speaking Mayavad philosophy, Mother Sachi replied, who has taught you this philosophical speculation that justifies eating dust? Replying to the Mayavad idea of the child philosopher, Mother Sachi said, my dear boy, if we eat earth transformed into grains, our body is nourished and it becomes strong. But if we eat dirt in its crude state, the body becomes diseased instead of nourished, and thus it is destroyed. So these Mayavadi philosophies philosophers basically give these kind of philosophies, these different kind of ideas, and these different kind of examples to state that everything is one, there is no difference and all. But then this way, like they will give an example, but there is another example to defeat them. Like obviously, the mother said that the mother told Lord Chaitanya, Nimai at that time, that you're saying everything is dirt, but earth transformed into grains, our body is nourished by that, and it becomes strong. But if we eat dirt in its crude state, the body becomes diseased. And in a water pot, which is a water pot, I can drink water very easily, but it is poured on a lump of dirt. The lump would soak up water, and my labor is useless, would be useless. So, how philosophers are. They try to establish the truth through examples, but then through a different example, like you can uh, defeat their philosophy. It does not accept the variety that is useful for practical purposes. And they would say different things like in that way. But actually, like there is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives the philosophy of simultaneously one and different. Like the Supreme Lord and all of us are one, but at the same time we are different. You know, oneness is there because like the same nature is there. That Atma is there. But the Lord is the super soul, Supreme Lord, Supreme Paramatma. I mean Supreme Lord, and we are infinitesimal. Although that same Atma is there, but we are insignificant, and the Lord is supreme. Lord is infinite. Sorry, and we are infinitesimal. So the Lord replied to his mother, "Why did you conceal self-realization by not teaching me this practical philosophy in the beginning?" So already the Lord is like few years old, but he's saying that, "Why did you not teach me in the beginning?" अभी तो teaching का develop किया कि he's so like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to warn actually. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and if you see in his later Leelas, he used to warn against this propagation of Mayavad philosophy. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to say that keep very long distance from this, because they would ultimately say the devotees to be sentimentalists, and they would say or whatever reciprocation that the Lord is formless, they would say, and that way like they would not encourage relationship between the Lord and as a devotee, actually the devotee and the Lord in the mode of rendering loving devotional service. So that is something which they would not encourage that way. Now that I can understand this philosophy, no more I shall eat dirt. Whenever I am hungry, I shall suck your breast milk, some breast and drink your breast milk. After saying this, the Lord smilingly, slightly climbed on the lap of his mother and sucked her breast. Thus, under various excuses, the Lord exhibited his opulences as much as possible in his childhood, and later, after exhibiting such opulences, he hid himself. On one occasion, the Lord ate the food of a Brahmana guest 3 times, and later, in confidence, the Lord delivered that Brahman from material engagement. So once, what happened was there was a Brahman guest at the house of Jagannath Mishra, and in those days, like the Brahmanas would cook from their own hands. I mean, the Brahmanas would not, encourage, because they had their own deities, they had their own lords, and it was a practice कि the person who is having the deities, जिनके पास मूर्ति है, अर्चा विग्रह है, वो खुद ही उसका मतलब कुकिंग करेंगे, वो खुद ही उसका जो है भोजन बनाएंगे. So when he would prepare his food, when the Brahmanas was cooking, when the Brahmana was cooking the food, Lord Vishnu in his meditation. So while cooking, he would be in his meditation, and after the meal would be prepared, the child Nimai came before the Lord, came before the Lord and ate the offering. So this 3 times this thing happened, that he would prepare something and Nimai would eat it. Then the Brahmana would prepare, then Nimai would eat. Like this, it happened 3 times. So by the request of Jagannath Mishra, like after 3 times he had prepared, thus like Brahmana was very discouraged by this act, and thinking that Lord Vishnu was not willing to accept his food that day, he thought that I should fast. And Brahmana became greatly agitated and cried, "Lord, hi, what have been done? What have been done?" When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw that the Brahmana is in that agitated state, he told him, "Formerly I was the son of Mother Yashoda. At that time also you became a guest in the house of Nanda Maharaj, and I disturbed you in this way. I am very much pleased by your devotion. Therefore, I am eating the food you have prepared." Understanding the favor offered to him by the Lord, the Brahman was greatly pleased, and he was overwhelmed with love of Krishna. So this way, he was told that This way he was told, uh, the Brahmana, that I am Krishna himself, and yeah, and I have come and offered you. But then he said that, don't disclose this incident to anyone. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai, child Nimai, said that don't requested him to not to disclose this pastime to anyone. So this way, like he had this exchange with the Brahmana, and in his childhood, the Lord was taken away by two thieves outside his home. The Lord, however, got up on the shoulder of the thieves, and while they were thinking they were safely carrying the child to rob his ornaments, the Lord misled them, and thus, instead of going to their own home, the thieves came back to the house of Jagannath Mishra. तो भगवान परमात्मा के रूप में सबके मन में बसे हैं. He's sitting in everyone's heart as a Paramatma. So one of the pastime was such that there were two thieves actually, and they thought that they will steal the ornament from Lord Nimai and kill him. That was the thinking. But being the Paramatma in their heart, the Lord guided the Brahmanas while sitting on his shoulder. The Lord guided the Brahmanas to come back to the same spot where he had taken from his home, basically. And the thieves got of course, like they got frustrated and they left. मतलब ये क्या हो रहा है? That way, what is happening? And pretended. So once actually there were two Brahmanas, Hiranya and Jagdish. So on Ekadashi day, the Lord asked for some food from the house of these two Brahmanas, Hiranya and Jagdish, and he was pretending to be sick actually. So एकादशी में क्या होता है कि हम जो भक्तजन हैं, जो मतलब बाकी जो मनुष्य है, जो जीवात्मा है, वो एकादशी के दिन उपवास करते हैं. They do fasting on एकादशी. One second, Varun Prabhu, no, can you come? I want to ask you something. One second. कुछ पूछना है आपको. एक सेकंड आइए ना. थोड़ा इंग्लिश थोड़ा हिंदी. ठीक है. और कोई सीनियर था नहीं इसलिए पता नहीं था. ठीक है. तो भगवान बीमार था एक्चुअली. एकादशी के समय क्या होता है कि मतलब भगवान तो मतलब उपवास नहीं करेंगे ना. भगवान तो नॉर्मली खाएंगे ना. और हम लोग जो है सब उपवास का भोजन करते हैं. तो ये दो ब्राह्मण थे, इन्होंने भगवान नारायण के लिए भोग बनाया था, रेगुलर नॉन एकादशी प्रसाद. और खुद जो है तो उस दिन एकादशी थी. सो once on Ekadashi in the house there were arrangements for preparing special prasadam for Lord Vishnu, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked his father to go there to ask for Vishnu prasadam because he was feeling very sick. The house of Jagdish and मतलब उनका 2 मील की दूरी पे था, 2 miles from the house of Jagannath Mishra. Therefore, when Jagannath Mishra, on the request of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, came to ask Jagdish and Hiranya for the prasadam, they were little astonished. थोड़ा अचंभित हो गए थे कि how could the boy understand that special prasadam is being prepared for Lord Vishnu? So he must have some supernatural mystic power that way. Means हाँ, तो मतलब जिस दिन एकादशी थी उसी दिन उसने मतलब बोला था कि मतलब he told his father कि मतलब मुझे वहां जाना है, हिरण्याक्ष और उसके घर पे. मतलब तो इनको वही लगा था कि मतलब बच्चे को, इतने छोटे बच्चे को कैसे पता कि वहां पे मिलता है प्रसाद करके. तो ऐसे उन्होंने कंक्लूड किया कि he must be having some supernatural power. And even immediately after eating Vishnu prasadam, Nimai was cured, and he also distributed prasadam amongst his playmates. So अपने बाकी साथी जो सखाव है उनको बांटा उन्होंने प्रसादम. As usual for small children, he learned to play, and with his playmates, he went to the house of neighboring friends, stealing their eatables and eating them. Sometimes the children fought amongst themselves. तो जैसे कृष्ण भगवान जो है मतलब माखन चोरी वगैरह करते थे, इसी प्रकार जो है मतलब कुछ चीजें एक दूसरे की जगह मतलब stealing चलता था मतलब ऐसा. And all the children lodged complaints with Sachi Mata about the lords fighting with them and stealing from the neighbor's house. मतलब बच्चों ने आके जो है सची माता से शिकायत की से कि ऐसे कि मतलब जो है चोरी करता है और मतलब फाइटिंग करता है ऐसे आपस में. Therefore, sometimes he used to chastise or rebuke her son. Sachi Mata said, "Why do you steal others' things? Why do you beat the other children? And why do you go inside others' house? Why? What do you not have in your own house? आपके घर खुद के घर पे क्या नहीं है?" So ये एक्चुअली लीला है. मतलब कैसा है कि जो भी मतलब अवगुण हमें दिख रहा है इस संसार में, तो वो सेम मतलब उसका स्पिरिचुअल नेचर भी है. बट देन यू नो यहाँ पे जो स्टीलिंग होता है वो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट करता है. वही जो है मतलब स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड में जो स्टीलिंग होता है वो लीला होता है. वो एक समहाउ एक सोर्स ऑफ जॉय होता है कि कुछ स्टील करने के ही बहाने जो है एक रिलेशन बनता है. स्टील करने के बहाने किसी के घर पे जाएगा. और वो जो एंगर जो होता है, जैसे मतलब जब भगवान श्री कृष्ण के गोकुल में जो लीलाएं थी माखन चुराने की, तो कैसे होता था कि आउटवर्ड एक होता है आउटवर्ड एंगर और एक होता है इनर एंगर. आउटवर्डली एंगर एक्सप्रेस करते थे, लेकिन एट द सेम टाइम मतलब वो कृष्ण को देखे बिना रह नहीं सकते थे. जो बाकी की जो मतलब यशोदा मैया की जो सखियां थी, मतलब आसपास की नेबर्स थी, मतलब पड़ोस में, मतलब तो ऊपर से वो लोग दिखाते थे ऐसा कि मतलब कि उनको इसका रोष है, मतलब इसका क्रोध, मतलब एंगर और डिसअपॉइंटमेंट इन स्टीलिंग. बट इंटरनली दे यूज्ड टू बी हैप्पी. दे यूज्ड टू लॉन्ग कि मतलब वो कृष्णा अगर सील करने ना जाए तो उस दिन मतलब वो लोग बोर हो जाते. इस तरह का एक माहौल था, इस तरह का वातावरण था, इस तरह का उनकी भावना थी, मतलब उनका भाव था. तो ये एक लीला है, मतलब इस तरह से भगवान की, मतलब बेसिकली thus rebuked by his mother, the Lord would go in anger in a room and break all the pots within it. तो वही बताया गया है कि मतलब कैसे गुस्से में जो है, रोष में जो है, वो जो निमाई है वो सारे मतलब पॉट ब्रेक करता, सारे मतलब जो मटकी है उसको फोड़ देता था. Then Sachi Mata would take her son on the lap and pacify him, and Lord would be very ashamed, admitting his faults. तो वही है कि वो एक वात्सल्य भाव का एक अनुभव दे रहे थे भगवान. He used to give an experience of वात्सल्य, you know, emotions, motherly emotions to the child, and he used to just have that kind of a normal, childhood exchange. But just give his mother experience that he would be ashamed, he would admit his fault. I have done wrong. I'm so sorry. I should not steal. I should not hit anyone. So this way, like he would give this transcendental kind of feeling to his mother, and that of correcting the child basically. So once the child Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised his mother with his soft hands, and his mother pretended to faint. Seeing this, the Lord began to cry. The neighboring ladies told him, "Dear child, please bring a coconut from somewhere, and your mother will be cured." Then he went outside the house and immediately got two coconuts. All the ladies was astonished to see wonderful activities. मतलब वो एक कोकोनट लाने बोले, बट दो कोकोनट ले आया. तो ये भी उनको मतलब क्या है कि कोई बच्चा ऐसा कुछ करता है तो उससे भी उन लोग को, अरे इसको तो एक बोला, ये तो दो ले आया. तो वो भी मतलब उनको बहुत आनंद आया उससे भी. And sometimes the Lord would go with other children to bathe in the Ganges, and the neighboring girls would come there and worship various demigods. ये बहुत interesting exchange है. बहुत ही मतलब I mean, this is a very interesting exchange between the Lord and the neighborhood girls, and we'll read the purport also to it. I mean, there are some small purports regarding this. The ladies would go, neighboring ladies would go, and girls actually, not ladies, I mean to say, the young girls, they would go and worship Lord Shiva, and the Lord would also go with other children to bathe in the Ganges over there. And according to Vedic system, when small girls 10 or 12 year old would go to the bank of Ganges to take their bath, they especially would worship Lord Shiva with prayers to get good husbands in the future. मतलब अच्छे मतलब पति के लिए वो लोग भगवान भोलेनाथ से, शिव जी से प्रार्थना करते थे अच्छे हस्बैंड के लिए. They especially wanted to get a husband like Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva is very peaceful and at the same time most powerful. Formally, therefore, small girls in Hindu families would worship Lord Shiva, especially in the month of Vaishak. वैशाख के महीने लोग, अप्रैल मई का जो समय है, वैशाख के महीने में वो लोग शिव जी की आराधना करते और गंगा में स्नान करते. And to take a bath in the Ganges is a great pleasure of everyone, not only for adults but also children. मतलब भी पता है प्रभुपाद जी ने कि गंगा जी में स्नान करना जो है, गंगा मैया में स्नान करना जो है, वो बड़े और छोटे को सबको प्रसन्नता देता है. And when the girls engaged in worshipping the different demigods after bathing in the Ganges, the young lord would come there and sit down among them. तो उनका स्नान करके हो जाता तो सब लेडीज का तो भगवान बैठते उनके साथ. एंड एड्रेसिंग द गर्ल्स द लॉर्ड वुड से वर्शिप मी एंड आई शैल गिव यू गुड हस्बैंड्स और गुड बेनेडिक्शंस. द गेंजेस एंड गॉडेस दुर्गा आर माय मेड सर्वेंट. व्हाट टू स्पीक ऑफ अदर डेमिगॉड्स, इवन लॉर्ड शिवा इज माय सर्वेंट. अभी आप सोचिए, मतलब ऐसे ही एक छोटा सा लड़का जो है आके बोलेगा कि मतलब गेंजेस एंड गॉडेस दुर्गा आर माय मेड सर्वेंट. What to speak of other than Lord Shiva is my, जो भगवान भोलेनाथ है, शंकर भगवान है, वो भी जो है he is my servant. ऐसा है कि मतलब यंग निमाय वुड से, अरे परीक्षित प्रभु आप यहीं हो क्या? वो कब से? वो देखे नहीं, सॉरी. ओके, हाँ, ऑलराइट. सो ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग था. एंड ऑफ कोर्स लाइक भगवान की जो योग माया शक्ति है, by the योग माया एनर्जी ऑफ द लॉर्ड. I mean, there are two kinds of energy, like Mahamaya, of course, by the power of Maya, by the influence of Maya, we forget Krishna and our real relationship with Lord as this thing. But in that influence, we get pulled by the material nature of the Lord. Whereas by the effect of Yog Maya, which is the internal potency, so that makes people to forget that the Lord is Krishna himself, he is Supreme Lord himself. बट बाय द योग माया पोटेंसी, योग माया के असर से मतलब लोग भूल जाते हैं कि मतलब ये भगवान है करके और हम जीवात्मा है करके. सो बट द डिफरेंस बिटवीन योग माया एंड महामाया इज दैट महामाया बाइंड्स टू द मटेरियल वर्ल्ड, whereas योग माया is acts, क्योंकि if there will not be the influence, if like there is the feeling of God, if they know that he is Supreme Lord, then there cannot be any lila. Okay, there cannot be any pastime. For instance, if like Sachi Mata thinks that मैंने भगवान को ये तो भगवान है करके, so obviously she will not be able to have that motherly exchanges. Or if his friend, they know that the Lord is Supreme Lord, he's Supreme or Supreme Personality of Godhead, then they cannot have that exchange. So Yog Maya energy enables that, make sure that the people involved in the pastime, in the Leela, they forget that he is Krishna or Chaitanya that way. So by the Yoga Maya, of course, they could not understand that way. And without the permission of the girls, the Lord would take the sandalwood pulp, chandan lekar jo hai, smear it on his own body, put the flower garland on his own neck, snatch and eat all the offerings of sweet meats, rice and bananas. जो मतलब भगवान शिवा के लिए ऑफरिंग होती थी, भगवान जबरदस्ती जो है उसको स्नैच करते थे. भगवान उसको अपने शरीर पे मतलब लगाते, स्मेयर करते, एंड पुट द फ्लावर गार्लैंड्स ऑन हिज नेक, ऐसा खुद माला पहन लेते छीन के. तो ये इस तरह की लीला होती थी. एंड ऑल द गर्ल्स वुड बिकम वेरी एंग्री विद द लॉर्ड फॉर दिस बिहेवियर. डियर निमाय, यू आर जस्ट लाइक अ ब्रदर इन आवर विलेज रिलेशनशिप. मतलब तू तो हमारे भाई जैसा है. इस तरह से मतलब बोलते हैं कि you are like just like a brother. Therefore, it does not behoove you to act like this. ये आपको शोभा नहीं देता, आप ऐसे क्या कर रहे हो? भगवान को ऐसे बोलते हैं. योग माया का असर देखो कैसे. And don't take our paraphernalia for worship of the demigods. Don't create a disturbance in this way. इस तरह से डिस्टर्ब मत करो, इस तरह से मतलब क्या बाधक मत बनो. Lord replied, my dear sisters, I give you the benediction that your husband will be very handsome. तो ये छोटा भाई बोल रहे कि मैं आशीर्वाद देता हूँ जब आपको अच्छा हस्बैंड मिलेगा. They will be learned, clever and young and possess abundant wheat and rice. At that time, actually, wealth and rice, sorry. I mean, at that time, all these grains also used to be considered as wealth, only rice and wheat and all. So, both the wealth and rice they will have. And not only that, you will also have 7 sons who will live long and be very intelligent. तो पूरा मतलब टोटली मतलब जो भगवान से आशीर्वाद एक्सपेक्टेड है वो सब मतलब लॉर्ड शिव जी से आशीर्वाद एक्सपेक्टेड है, लॉर्ड चैतन्य महाप्रभु ने सारा दे दिया. ऐसे ही मतलब जिसको ये लोग बोलते हैं कि तुम मेरे भाई हो करके. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to bless the girls to fulfill the ambition and desires. One can easily become happy and obtain the material benefits of a good husband, wealth and grain, and number of nice children by worshipping Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas at an early age, it is not necessary for his devotees to follow him. तो ये बात बता रहे हैं कि मतलब चैतन्य महाप्रभु के बारे में. और एक मिनट पर्पट में कि मतलब वो एक्चुअल में कैसे वो आगे संन्यास वगैरह लिए. And hearing this benediction from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the girls were inwardly very happy, but externally, as natural it is for girl, they rebuked the Lord under the pretext of anger. So सब लोग को मतलब अंदर से बहुत खुशी हुई कि भगवान इस तरह के आशीर्वाद दे रहे हैं, मतलब निमाई इस तरह के आशीर्वाद दे रहा है, तो सब लोग को बहुत खुशी हुई, लेकिन ऊपर से एक्टिंग करना पड़ता है, तो ऊपर से वो लोग जो है एंगर दिखाए. And when some of the girls fled, the Lord called them in anger and advised them as follows. So कुछ भाग गई वहां से, मतलब ये समझ भी नहीं आया क्या चल रहा है करके. तो भगवान बोले रुको. So फिर बाद में धमकी देते हैं भगवान. If you all are miserly, तो आप कंजूसी करोगे and do not give me the offerings, every one of you will have old husbands with at least 4 co-wives. So भगवान ऐसे धमकाए उनको कि मतलब you will have 4 co-wives like this and you will have old husbands. So obviously मतलब क्या, hearing this, suppose cursed by Lord Chaitanya, the girls considering that he might know something uncommon or be empowered by the demigods, were afraid that his curse might go. डर गए कि कहीं का श्राप ना लग जाए करके. The girls then brought the offerings before the Lord, who ate them all and blessed the girls to their satisfaction. तो भगवान के लिए सब ऑफरिंग लेके आए ऐसे धर के और सेटिस्फाई. ऑफ कोर्स देखिए उनके हिट में ही था कि मतलब वो लोग भी मतलब शिव जी भी जो है मतलब जैसे दिया गया पद्म पुराण में कि मतलब वो भगवान की ही आराधना को परम बोलते हैं. कि पार्वती माता पूछती है कि किसकी आराधना सबसे परम है, तो वो बोलते हैं कि विष्णु आराधना सबसे परम है, और उनसे भी परम जो है वो आराधना है भगवान के भक्तों की. एंड लाइक वी नो कि चैतन्य महाप्रभु हैज द हार्ट ऑफ श्रीमती राधा रानी. चैतन्य महाप्रभु का जो हृदय है वो राधा रानी का है. तो चैतन्य महाप्रभु therefore is the topmost devotee because he's having the heart of Srimati Radharani that way. So when this cunning behavior of the Lord with the girls became known to the people in general, it did not create misunderstanding among themselves. So ये थोड़ा योग माया का ही असर है कि मतलब जब पता चला कि भगवान ने ऐसे छल किया है मतलब लड़कियों के साथ, मतलब बदमाशी की है, so it does not create misunderstanding. Rather they enjoyed happiness in these dealings. तो उनको भी अच्छा लगा जो भी हुआ सुन के. बाकी लोगों को भी कि जो नवद्वीप वासी जो है, मायापुर वासी लोग जो है. One day a girl of the name of, आगे बताया गया है कि मतलब जो लक्ष्मी जी वल्लभाचार्य की जो पुत्री थी, वल्लभाचार्य एक आचार्य है मतलब इन द रुद्र संप्रदाय, वल्लभाचार्य. एंड वो जो नाथद्वारा के जो श्रीनाथ जी है, the Srinath ji temple in Nathwara. So they worship, they are, so Vallabhacharya actually thought in Vallabhacharya's line they worship Srinath ji, Lord Srinath ji, and they chant the mantra Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. In many parts like you'll see Havelis also, like Srinath ji ki Haveli in different parts of Bombay. So Vallabhacharya were there during the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. उनको भी महाप्रभु बोलते हैं, बट वो वल्लभाचार्य को वो पुष्टि मार्ग वाले बोलते हैं महाप्रभु, उनके संप्रदाय वाले. So Lakshmi, the daughter of Vallabhacharya, so they came to the bank of river and worshipped the demigods. Seeing Lakshmi Devi, Nimai became attached to her, and Lakshmi, upon seeing the Lord, felt great satisfaction within her mind. Their natural love for each other awakened, and although it was covered by childhood emotions, it became apparently that they were mutually attracted. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lakshmi Devi are eternal husbands and wives. Therefore, it was quite natural for their dormant love to awaken, which they, while when they saw each other, their natural feelings were immediately awakened by their meeting. They both enjoyed natural pleasure in seeing each other, and under the pretext of demigod worship, they manifest their feelings. मतलब देवी देवता का पूजा आराधना करने के बहाने जो है कि इससे ये लोग ऐसे अपना फीलिंग्स उत्पन्न किए एंड अपना भाव उत्पन्न किए. And the Lord told Lakshmi, just worship me, for I am the supreme Lord. If you worship me, certainly you will get the benediction you desire. तो भगवान बोलते हैं कि मेरी आराधना करो, आपकी जो भी मतलब बेनिडिक्शन है आपको, वो जो भी आपको चाहिए, जो भी आपको वरदान चाहिए वो आपको मिलेगा. And on hearing the order of the Supreme Lord, Lakshmi immediately worshipped him, offering sandalwood, pulp, chandan, मतलब flowers for his body, garlanding him with malika flowers and offering prayers. Being worshipped by Lakshmi, the Lord began to smile. He recited a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam and thus accepted the emotion she expressed. My dear gopis, I accept your desires to have me as your husband and thus worship me. I wish your desire to be fulfilled because it deserves to be so. After thus expressing their feelings to each other, Lord Chaitanya and Lakshmi returned home. Who can understand the grave pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? When the neighboring people saw the naughty behavior, अभी वापस से ये थोड़ा I mean इधर से वापस से जो naughty behavior पे वापस आते हैं. So when the neighboring people saw the naughty behavior of Lord Chaitanya, out of love for him, they lodged complaints with Sachi Mata and Jagannath Mishra. One day, Mother Sachi went to catch her son, wanting to rebuke him, but he fled from the spot. Although he is the maintainer of the entire universe, the Lord sat upon some rejected pots in the pits where there were remnants of the food were thrown after the pot has been used for cooking. तो अभी यहाँ पे भी एक लीला होता है कि मतलब जो फेंके हुए मतलब जो पहले तो बर्तन नहीं होते थे, मतलब पॉट्स ज़्यादा यूज होते थे, मतलब क्ले के मिट्टी के बर्तन होते थे. तो वो जहाँ फेंके हुए थे तो भगवान वहाँ गए, वहाँ बैठ गए और माता ने जो है मतलब ऐसी डांट लगाई कि मतलब ये सब तो कुकिंग का यूज हो चुका है, मतलब ये सब मतलब व्हाई हैव यू टच दिस अनटचेबल पॉट्स, यू हैव नाउ बिकम इम्प्योर, गो एंड बाथ, टेक बाथ इन द गंगा गेंजेस. सो इस तरह से मतलब बोला गया कि आप ऐसे कैसे मतलब ये कर रहे हो. सो ऐसे कैसे मतलब हाँ यूज किए हुए जो है बर्तन यूज कर रहे हो, वो चले गए. तो हियरिंग दिस लॉर्ड चैतन्य महाप्रभु हिमसेल्फ टॉट हिज मदर अबाउट एब्सोल्यूट नॉलेज. तो एब्सोल्यूट मतलब प्लेटफॉर्म जैसे है, एक होता है रिलेटिव और एक होता है एब्सोल्यूट. तो जैसे एब्सोल्यूट लेवल पर जो है आई मीन ऑन अभी इसको एक एग्जांपल के तौर पे समझा सकते हैं कि रिलेटिव एंड एब्सोल्यूट. रिलेटिव मतलब like for instance someone is your relative, someone is your uncle. So uncle is your relative but he's not your like a real father. So similarly like knowledge like I am a boy or I am a man, so that is a relative knowledge because I am a boy today, tomorrow I'll be a man, day after tomorrow like I'll die and in next body I may be something else, I may not be a man also, I may be an animal or whatever. So that way like it's a relative fact, it's a relative truth, but I am a soul, that is an absolute truth. So similarly, like on the absolute platform, the utensils which were used for the cooking of the Lord, okay, so because they were used for the cooking, okay, fine. In one way, they are like waste and they should be thrown away. But at the same time, because they are cooked by the Lord, they should be preserved that way. And there's no harm actually in being used that way. That's what the Lord wanted to say. So sometimes, taking her son with her, Mother Sachi would lie down on her bed and she would see that the denizens of the celestial world have come them and filled the entire house. मतलब देवी देवता वगैरह आके जो है मतलब जो मतलब हेवनली प्लैनेट्स वगैरह से वो आके जो है इनके आंगन में बस जाते थे. So once Mother Sachi told the Lord, please call your father, go call your father. Receiving this order from his mother, the Lord went out to call him. मतलब वो बोले कि उनको बुलाने के लिए जगन्नाथ मिश्रा को. When the child was going out, there was a tinkling of ankle bells from his lotus feet. Hearing this, his father and mother were struck with wonder. तो ऐसे मतलब भगवान ने कुछ पहना नहीं था पायल वगैरह, लेकिन चलते चलते ही ऐसे आवाज मतलब आई थी, वो ध्वनि आई थी मतलब एंकलिंग बेल्स की मतलब. एंड जगन्नाथ मिश्रा said, this is very wonderful incident. Why is there a sound of ankling bell from the bare feet of my child? मतलब जो नंगा पाँव है, पाँव में कुछ भी नहीं है, मतलब चप्पल तो है नहीं, वो सब भी नहीं है, मतलब एंकल बेल ये सब तो ऐसे कैसे आ रहा है. So they made noisy sounds I could not understand. I guess they were, no, Mother Sachi said, I also saw another wonder. People were coming down from the celestial kingdom and crowding the entire courtyard. तो ये बता रही थी ऐसे कि दोनों को अलग अलग विजन हुआ. जगन्नाथ मिश्रा को वो ध्वनि आई थी मतलब वो पायल की, और इनको जो है मदर सची को सेलेस्टियल किंगडम का वो दर्शन हुआ. कि यहाँ पे आंगन में सब आ रहे हैं, and they made lousy sound. I could not understand. I guess they were offering prayers to someone. Jagannath Mishra replied, "Never mind what it is. There is no need to worry. There will always be good fortune for Vishwambhar. This is all I want." तो जगन्नाथ मिश्रा को ज़्यादा कुछ सोचना ही नहीं था, इस बारे में कुछ विचार नहीं करना था, बस बोला कि ये बस विश्वम्भर, जो निमाई विश्वम्भर है, तो उसके लिए गुड फॉर्च्यून है, बेसिकली ये अच्छा चीज़ है. On another occasion, Jagannath Mishra, seeing the mischievous acts of his son, gave him the lesson in morality after rebuking him greatly. तो आगे वही देखते हैं कि मतलब जगन्नाथ मिश्रा जो है वो मतलब इस तरह से उनको मतलब जो है मतलब करेक्ट करने की कोशिश कर रहे होते हैं, और उनके स्वप्न में, इन हिज ड्रीम, दे सॉ दैट एक ब्राह्मण आके जो है, वन ब्राह्मण वाज स्पीकिंग इन वेरी एंगर, मतलब बहुत ही क्रोधित होकर बोल रहा था, माय डियर मिश्रा, यू डू नॉट नो एनीथिंग अबाउट योर सन, यू थिंक हिम योर सन एंड देयरफॉर यू रिब्यूक हिम एंड चैस्टाइज हिम. जगन्नाथ मिश्रा रिप्लाइड, मतलब तुम इसको अपना बेटा समझ कैसे बोलते हो? दिस बॉय मे बी अ डेमी गॉड, अ मिस्टिक योगी और अ ग्रेट सन. मेरे को फर्क नहीं पड़ता, इट डजंट मैटर व्हाट ही इज, फॉर आई थिंक ही इज ओनली माय सन. It is the duty of a father to educate his son in both religion and morality. If I do not give him this education, how will he know of it? The Brahmana replied, if your son is a transcendental mystic boy with self-effulgent, perfect knowledge, what is the use of your education? Jagannath Mishra replied, even if my son is not a common man, but Narayan, still it is my duty of a father to instruct his son. मतलब चैतन्य महाप्रभु के पिता जगन्नाथ मिश्रा ये बोलते हैं कि इफ माय सन, मेरा बेटा जो है कॉमन मैन नहीं है, नारायण भगवान है, फिर भी मेरी ड्यूटी है कि उसको मैं ऐसे बताऊं, गाइडेंस दूं, मतलब ज्ञान दूं, उसको नियंत्रण में रहो, इस तरह से. इन दिस वे Jagannath Mishra and the Brahmanas discussed the principles of religion in the dream. Yet Jagannath Mishra was absorbed in unalloyed parental mellow and did not want to know anything else. मतलब इस तरह से मतलब बता रहे थे कि जो वात्सल्य भाव है, जिस तरह से नंद महाराज और यशोदा मैया को था, सो इसी प्रकार जो है जगन्नाथ मिश्रा भी इस तरह से वात्सल्य भाव में थे. And being very pleased, the Brahmanas left after talking with Jagannath Mishra. And when Jagannath Mishra awakened from his dream, he was very astonished. मतलब बहुत अचंभित हो गए जब वो जागे थे, मतलब सो के. He related the dream to his friends and relatives, and every one of them was very astonished to hear it. And in this way, Gaur Hari performed his childhood pastimes day after day, which increased the pleasure of his parents. After some days, Lord Jagannath Mishra inaugurated the primary education, the Hatha ceremony. By performing Hatha ceremony, Hate Khadi, the primary education. Within a few days, Lord learned all the alphabets and combinations of a letter. मतलब भगवान ने को जब जैसे स्कूल में ज्वाइन किया, उन्होंने फट जो है सारे अक्षर सीख लिए, सारे मतलब जो बेसिक कॉम्बिनेशन है वो सब सीख लिए. मतलब तो इसमें अनुवाद में प्रभुपाद जी बोलते हैं कि 12 फल और कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ लेटर्स अकॉल रेफ, मराठियन, ना म य र ल व, तो बेसिकली अलग अलग अक्षरों का ज्ञान जो है भगवान को बहुत ही जल्द हो गया था. एंड दिस इज इट. सो अंत में मतलब कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी बोलते हैं सो कि इस चैप्टर के अंत में कि दिस इज सिनॉप्सिस ऑफ द चाइल्डहुड पास्टिम्स ऑफ लॉर्ड चैतन्य महाप्रभु, प्लेस्ड हियरविथ इज इन क्रोनोलॉजिकल ऑर्डर. मतलब एक क्रम में बता रहे हैं. और वृंदावन दास ठाकुर हैज ऑलरेडी एलैबोरेटली एक्सप्लेन दीज पास्टाइम्स इन बुक चैतन्य भागवत. तो जो चैतन्य भागवत करके ग्रंथ है वृंदावन दास ठाकुर का, वृंदावन दास ठाकुर जो है वो व्यास देव जी के अवतार माने जाते हैं चैतन्य लीला में. सो वृंदावन दास ठाकुर ने और डिटेल में ये बताया है पास्ट टाइम्स. आई हैव देयरफॉर मेड ओनली अ ब्रीफ समरी, बीइंग अफ्रेड ऑफ रेपिटेशन आई हैव नॉट elaborate further on this matter. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Shai Goswami, Shad Goswami में से 2 Goswami, always desiring their mercy, I Krishnadas narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following their footsteps. Thus end Bhakti Vedanta purpose to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 14th chapter describing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's childhood pastimes. Hare Krishna. I'm sorry, actually, I could not. I mean, like in my narration, I mean, if there are any faults or, I mean, if there's anything you all could not understand, you can always clarify with Varun Prabhu and other seniors. Make my apologies if, I mean, in my narration, if I caused any confusion. Thank you, Hare Krishna.